Have you ever noticed how the people who care the most usually get hurt the most? I used to be that person. The one who checked up on everyone. The one who stayed awake fixing friendships that were already falling apart. The one who always texted first. Always apologized first. Always cared more. And in relationships, I gave everything. Even after things ended, I still cared. I still worried about them. I still wanted to know if they were okay. It's exhausting when your heart never learns when to stop. And maybe that's why you clicked on this video. Because somewhere along the way, you changed. Now it feels different. You don't reply the same anymore. You don't chase people anymore. You stop begging people to stay. And honestly, you're tired of carrying connections alone. At first, I thought something was wrong with me. I thought, why am I becoming so cold? Why do I not feel the same anymore? But then I realized something. Maybe I'm not becoming heartless. Maybe I'm just finally understanding my worth. Because caring too much for the wrong people destroys you slowly. You start ignoring yourself just to keep others happy. You lose sleep over people who sleep peacefully after hurting you. You give loyalty to people who only remember you when they need something. And at a certain point, your mind just gets tired. Not angry, not emotional. Just tired. So now, I stopped forcing things. If someone wants to leave, I let them. If someone gives dry energy, I match it. If someone cares about me genuinely, I'll give that same energy back. But I'm done overwatering dead plants just because I'm scared to lose them. And the weird part is, since I stopped caring so much, life actually feels peaceful. Don't single quotes to overthink every little change anymore. I don't sit there wondering, did I do something wrong? Why are they acting different? Why am I always the only one trying? Because I finally understood something most people learn too late. Not every connection is meant to last forever. Some people only enter your life to teach you how to stop abandoning yourself for others. And I know that hurts to accept. Especially when you're the type of person who loves deeply. Because people like us, we don't know how to care a little. When we love someone, we think about them constantly. We protect them. We stay loyal even when they stop deserving it. And maybe that's why we end up empty. Because we keep pouring into people who would never pour the same into us. But now, something changed. I started choosing peace over attachment. And trust me, peace feels unfamiliar when you spent your whole life surviving chaos. At first, it felt lonely. I stopped texting first. Stopped checking if everyone was okay every second. Stopped trying to fix every broken friendship. And suddenly, I saw who actually cared enough to stay. That's the thing nobody tells you. When you stop chasing people, the fake connections disappear on their own. And honestly, that's not a loss, that's clarity. Now, I protect my energy differently. Not because I hate people. Not because I stopped feeling emotions. But because I finally learned that constantly sacrificing yourself for others doesn't make you a good person. It just makes you exhausted. And maybe you felt this too. That moment where you realize you were always there for everyone, but when you needed someone, the room suddenly became quiet. That changes a person. It changes the way you love, the way you trust, the way you look at people. You stop expecting, you stop begging, you stop trying to force closeness with people who only give half effort. And honestly, that version of me who cared about everyone more than himself, he was slowly destroying himself without even noticing. Because no matter how much love you give, you can't make someone value you. You can't force effort. You can't force loyalty. And you definitely can't force someone to care the same way you do. So now, I move differently. I still have a good heart. I still care deeply, but only for people who prove they deserve access to that side of me. Because one-sided love, one-sided friendships, one-sided effort will drain the life out of you if you let them. And maybe that's why you're here right now. Maybe you're tired too. Tired of always being the understanding one. Tired of always staying. Tired of caring more than the people around you. And if nobody has told you this yet, you are allowed to stop chasing people who keep making you feel unwanted. You are allowed to protect your peace. That doesn't make you selfish. It makes you mature. Because real connections don't require you to Beg for basic effort. Real people won't make you question your importance every single day. And I think that's the biggest thing I learned this year. The more I started respecting myself, the less I tolerated things that were slowly hurting me. I stopped trying to save every friendship, stopped trying to fix people who never wanted to change, stopped attaching myself to people who only loved me when it was convenient. And for the first time in a long time, I felt lighter. Not completely happy, not completely healed, but lighter. Like my mind finally got a chance to rest. And maybe you're in that same phase right now. The phase where you're becoming quieter, more distant, more careful with your energy. Not because you don't care anymore, but because you finally realized your kindness should not cost your mental peace. So, if you've changed recently, if you've become colder, if you stop giving people unlimited access to your heart, maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe you're finally learning that you deserve the same love, effort, and care you've been giving to everyone else this whole time. And the truth is, some people will notice this change in you and call you different. They'll say you became distant, too quiet, too hard to reach, but they never noticed how many times you were hurting silently while still showing up for everyone else. They only notice your absence. Once your effort disappears, that's why I stopped explaining myself so much. Because the people who truly care, they notice the pain behind the silence. They notice when your energy changes. They notice when you stop smiling the same. They notice when you're slowly pulling away. And those are the people worth keeping, not the ones who only remember you when they need comfort, attention, or someone to listen to them at 2 a.m. I used to think being needed meant being valued, but those are two completely different things. Some people only need your kindness. Very few actually value your presence. And once you understand that, you stop trying so hard to prove yourself to everyone. You stop treating temporary people like permanent ones. Now I'd rather have a small circle with real energy than 100 fake connections that disappear when life gets hard. Because peace is expensive, and I paid for it by losing parts of myself trying to save people who never tried to save me back. So now, I don't force conversations anymore. I don't beg for attention. I don't try to convince people to stay in my life. Because if someone truly wants you around, you'll never have to fight for basic effort. And maybe this version of me looks colder from the outside, but inside, I'm just finally tired of being the person who gives everything and gets confusion in return. I spent so much time thinking, if I love harder, maybe they'll stay. If I care more, maybe they'll understand. If I keep being patient, maybe things will change. But some people only take and take and take. Until there's nothing left of you. That's why I started choosing myself more. Not in an arrogant way, not in a selfish way, just in a peaceful way. I started spending more time alone, started enjoying my own company, started realizing that loneliness hurts less than constantly feeling unwanted around people. And honestly, that realization changed me. Because once you become comfortable being alone, people lose the power to manipulate you with distance, mixed signals, or temporary attention. You stop fearing abandonment so much. And when that fear disappears, you finally start living for yourself instead of living for other people's approval. Now, when someone leaves, I don't chase them anymore. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because I finally understand that forcing people to stay never creates real connection. If someone wants to walk away, let them. The right people won't constantly make you feel hard to love. And I think that's what changed me the most. I stopped seeing my kindness as something people automatically deserve, because access to your mind, your heart, your energy is a privilege. Not everyone deserves the softest parts of you, especially the people who only show up when they're bored, lonely, or needing something. I learned that the hard way, and maybe you did too. Maybe that's why your heart feels more guarded now. Maybe you got tired of giving endless chances, tired of forgiving things that secretly broke you, tired of pretending certain actions didn't hurt just to keep people around. After a while, you just stop reacting. Not because you feel nothing, but because you felt too much for too long. and that kind of exhaustion changes a person deeply. It turns overthinkers into quiet people. It turns emotional people into distant people. It turns people who once begged to stay into people who can walk away without saying a word. And maybe that sounds sad, but in a strange way, it's also growth. Because healing and always becoming softer. Sometimes healing is finally learning where your limits are. Learning when to say, "This is hurting me. This friendship is one-sided. This relationship is draining me more than it's loving me." For the longest time, I ignored every red flag just because I was scared of losing people. But losing yourself is worse. Way worse. And I think a lot of people don't realize how dangerous it is to constantly abandon yourself just to keep others comfortable. You slowly stop recognizing who you are. Your mood depends on other people. Your peace depends on their attention. Your happiness depends on whether they choose you or not. That's not love. That's emotional exhaustion. Real love, real friendship, real connection should feel safe, not confusing, not one-sided, not like you're constantly fighting to be enough. So, if you've been feeling detached lately, if you've been protecting your energy more, if you stop giving people unlimited chances, maybe your soul is finally trying to protect you from becoming empty again. Because the truth is, people don't always appreciate you when you're constantly available. Sometimes they only understand your value after they experience your absence, after the long paragraphs stop, after the late-night replies disappear, after the effort fades. And by then, you've already changed. Not into a bad person, just into someone who finally learned that love should feel mutual. I used to think being a good person meant tolerating everything. Disrespect, mixed signals, being ignored, being forgotten. But patience without boundaries becomes self-destruction. And once I understood that, I stopped blaming myself for walking away from things that were hurting me. Because protecting your peace is not weakness, it's self-respect. And honestly, I wish I learned that earlier. I wish someone told me that constantly saving other people while drowning yourself is not loyalty. It's pain disguised as love. Now, I pay attention to effort, not words, not promises, not temporary attention, effort, because people make time for what truly matters to them. And when someone genuinely cares about you, you won't feel confused every single day wondering where you stand in their life. You'll feel secure, valued, at peace. And maybe that's all I want now. Not intensity, not chaos, not relationships that feel like emotional roller coasters. Just peace, real peace. So, if you've been feeling like you don't care anymore, maybe it's not because your heart disappeared. Maybe it's because your heart got tired of loving people who never handled it carefully. And honestly, that version of you who cared about everyone endlessly, you don't need to hate that person. They were genuine. They loved deeply. They tried their best. But now, it's time to give some of that care back to yourself too. Because you deserve relationships where effort feels equal, where you don't have to beg to be remembered, where your presence feels appreciated instead of tolerated. And trust me, the moment you stop chasing people who don't value you, life becomes quieter, lighter, peaceful. You stop losing sleep over temporary people. You stop blaming yourself for other people's lack of effort. And slowly, you become someone who protects their energy instead of giving it away to everyone. So no, maybe you don't care less. Maybe you just finally learned that not everyone deserves the deepest parts of your heart. And if you relate to this, maybe this video found you at the right time.